Hey everyone, how's it going? Zach Butler YGO here, back again with another video. You guys just destroyed the 50 likes that I'd asked for to get to a combo video. So we're going to do one on the Gold Pride P.U.N.K deck. It's a couple of cards different than the one that I posted in the deck profile. I think one of the things I changed was I added a third copy of Better Luck Next Time, and I changed the extra deck a little bit. It's still very much the same basic deck, though. I'll show the main changes that I made were I added Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord and Appaloosa. I took out the second copy of Chariot Carry and the second copy of Starleon. I might end up putting the Starleon back, though. That card ended up coming up a couple times in the local I played in. Yeah, so we'll just kind of go through a couple of opening hands, and we'll see what we can do here. So let's see what we get for our first hand here. As always, we'll cut in half, and then to keep me honest, we'll roll a die here, take the top three off, 1, 2, 3, and let's see what we get here. For opening hand, we have Gold Pride that came out of nowhere, Nibiru, Xiamen, Foxy Tune, and Emergency Teleport. So pretty good opening hand, all things considered. This hand does play pretty heavily into Droll. That's kind of one of the things I want to address with this deck, is that you're going to play into Droll a lot. But that is kind of just the risk you take with this deck. So looking at this hand, if I was to kind of just throw caution to the wind, I think I would definitely lead with Emergency Teleport. We would summon our Wogon. We would go to main phase, pay 600 for the Wogons to add the P.U.N.K Jam Extreme Session. So this will get us to some additional cards right off the bat. And then we're just going to go activate the Extreme Session, or the Jam Session. Normal summon, Xiamen, pay 600, and we're going to add a copy of Ogre Dance to hand. So we are currently at 7,200. I should have a calculator with me, but I just don't. That's okay. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm actually going to go ahead and trigger the Jam Extreme Session here, just in case they do have something later on. Get us to another Nibiru. That's not too bad. So we can either go for the Gold Pride line here by using these two to make Chariot Carry, or we can go with the greedier route into the Ogre Dance. I think I would take the safer route, and I would go overlay into Chariot Carry. We'll use Chariot Carry's effect. This is, of course, assuming all this goes through. Ash Blossom and things like that are an issue. And we're going to grab Better Luck Next Time. So that's pretty good there. We'll go ahead and activate our Better Luck Next Time, and we're going to grab ourselves a copy of Captain Carry. And we'll take another 900. So we are at, we've taken 6, 9, we're at 6,500. And we're going to go ahead and special summon our Captain Carry, using Captain Carry's effect to add the Gold Pride Start Your Engines. So that's pretty good there. Then we'll go ahead and activate our Ogre Dance to add a copy of Shirakasai to hand. And now we're going to use the Jam Extreme Session, banishing to special summon our Shirakasai. So we are currently at this for our setup. We're going to use Shirakasai's effects. We're going to actually ditch the Foxy Tune and the Shirakasai to summon the Rising Carp. And I'm trying to think if I want to use Rising Carp's effect here, or if I want to use the Jam Extreme Session. I think I probably would, just to get as many cards out of my deck as I can. You could definitely argue to hold it, though. We're going to go ahead and do it, and we're going to take 5 off the top. Drawing into another Captain Carry, which that's fine. Not especially important here. We'll use Rising Carp to summon the Madame Spider and the Gear Note here. We'll use Madame Spider's effect to add Dangerous Gabu. I'm a bigger fan of Dangerous Gabu than Nishawari, just because Gabu does the same thing regardless of whether or not you have a P.U.N.K monster in the field. It's going to have the same basic effect of negating a card, but you could definitely switch it out for the other trap if you wanted. So now we have this as our field layout, and we're going to go ahead and synchro summon into a P.U.N.K Jam Drag and Drive. So we'll use Chainlink 1, Jam Drag and Drive. Chainlink 2 will be Deer Note. So we have a few options here. We could summon the Rising Carp. We could summon the Shakasai. We could... So if we go Rising Carp, which I think is what we're going to do, we can actually end on a rank 8 as well. So I think I like that idea better, because then off of the Jam Drag and Drive, we're going to grab a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. And then we're going to go ahead and overlay the Jam Drag and Drive and the Rising Carp into number 97 Draglubion. We'll use Draglubion's effect to detach the Jam Drag and Drive. It actually does matter what you detach. If you end on the Dragite in any circumstances, you want to make sure you have a water. And if you don't have a Captain Carry Engrave or a Chariot Carry, you want to make sure you detach the Rising Carp to have that. So just keep that in mind if you end on Dragite. In this case, it doesn't matter though. So we'll detach the Jam Drag and Drive just in case we use a P.U.N.K card. Like if we use Dangerous Gabu and they respond to it, we can then utilize our Jam Drag and Drive Engrave. So we will reveal Hope Harbinger and Galaxy Ice Photon Lord, which we will then summon the Photon Lord. Make sure to avoid the columns under the extra monster zones, just to make sure you don't play into Relinquished Anima, which does come up. I watched somebody actually just lose a match that they had no business losing because of that. And so now we have this as our field, so we can go ahead and set the Dangerous Gabu, set the Start Your Engines, and we'll go ahead and set that Came Out of Nowhere. In the end phase, Chariot Carry will return itself, and we'll summon another Captain Carry from the deck, which might seem a little redundant since we already have Captain Carry on the field, but it actually can be pretty beneficial because of the Start Your Engines. If we do get into our copy of Pinballer or Rollerballer, that'll actually get us to the ability to make a 3-copy pinball, 3-material pinballer to suck up 3 monsters. But then remember, Better Luck Next Time is also going to draw us a card, so we're going to draw into our Rollerballer. So unfortunately, there we can't get there, but we do have Nibiru, Ghost Ogre, Dangerous Gabu, Start Your Engines. We do actually still have the ability to use That Came Out of Nowhere Rollerballer. Because of That Came Out of Nowhere, we can then just special summon this from our hand, and then they don't know that that's there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of interaction. The Start Your Engines will also then get us to a Gold Pride Leon, which will then get us to an 8th point of interaction, I believe. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we have 8 points of interaction there off of that opening hand. So that's like a pretty stock standard opening. But let's go over, just as an example, let's say you open with Captain Carry and Emergency Teleport even. We'll say that we opened up with those two in our opening hand, and we'll just kind of shuffle up and give ourselves another pretty whatever hand. I just want to show what happens when you open with Captain Carry and a Searcher. So, well, that hand's pretty good. This is actually a good example. Is if you open up with Ogre Dance and Captain Carry, I would argue that in this scenario, you want to use Captain Carry, and you want to use its effect first, because the value of the Start Your Engines is so much higher than the value of any P.U.N.K card, that if you do get drolled, you want to make sure that you have the most valuable part of your engine, which is Start Your Engines in this case, because it's 2 disruptions instead of 1. Because the Start Your Engines can destroy monster, obviously, but then you can also grab Leon, which then can Synchro Summon into Star Leon and then destroy another monster, or you can grab Rollerballer and make Pinballer and go off from there. So that's just something to keep in mind too, is that that's like a small little tidbit that you can keep in mind. I'll do a couple more hands. Most of this stuff is pretty kind of just free flow. The way I describe it is you're just kind of throwing stuff at them until something sticks. So we'll do a couple more hands here. And like I say in every video, if you guys like this sort of content, let me know with a comment, a link, and or a comment, a like, and a subscription. It means a lot. If you want to see more content like this, let me know. And if you want to pick up any of the cards in the video, make sure to use the TCG affiliate link in the description. A portion of that does go to the channel and helps me out while you're helping yourselves out, which is pretty awesome. So then we open our hand. We have Deer Note, Better Luck Next Time, Shirakusai, Droll Lockbird, and Ogre Dance. So this is a weird hand. So we're gonna, if we're gonna risk Droll anyway, I think I'm gonna use the Better Luck Next Time, and I'm just gonna go ahead and grab Captain Carry right from the start. So if they Droll me here, that sucks. There's really not much you can do about that. Because if they Droll you here, you could summon Shirakusai and fuse. I would fuse at the Ogre Dance because it's going to be completely worthless anyway. You can make the Rising Carp. Rising Carp can grab Xiamen and the Deer Note from your hand. And you could make so let's say we get Drolled here. You could then normal summon Shirakusai, use its effect and fusion into Rising Carp effect, and you can go Deer Note and Xiamen. This line does really suck because you're really far behind because the Droll really hurts the stack, which is why I want to make a version where I'm playing like Crossout Designator, Call by the Grave, and things like that. But it's hard finding room for all those cards in this current format. But let's say, again, you're under Droll, so you Synchro Summon. You can make Jam Dragon Drive. And you can either go into the Galaxy S Photon Lord like I showed you before, or that'd be the rank 8 play, or you can bring back Shirakusai and you have an amazing dragon with 2 Psychic Tuners engraved, so you can interrupt him that way. That's that line. That's assuming that you get Drolled, of course. Let's say you don't, then I would argue you want to activate your Captain Carry, special summon it, and activate its effect to search out the copy of Start Your Engines. And again, the reason why we're doing it in this order as opposed to maybe using Ogre Dance or something first is because you want to make sure that if you get Drolled, you have as much value as you can. Because a lot of the times, more proficient players are going to wait to Droll you until you have something on the field so they can play around Gamma. So here they Droll you, but at that point you've already got your Start Your Engines, so you're actually fine. Because then you can do the other lines with the Shirakusai and stuff like that, and you're okay. As opposed to doing a line with like leading with the Ogre Dancing, doing that. So let's say you get Drolled here, you can actually just normal summon Shirakusai, and you could Synchro Summon into Star Leon if you wanted, because your life points are going to be lower than your opponent's, and then you can go ahead and Start Your Engines, and on their turn you can boost its, because this is just an activated, it's a ignition effect, so on their turn you can just boost its attack. Or you could normal summon Shirakusai, fusion summon, and go through those lines as well. But let's say neither of those things happen, and we live in a perfect world where nothing ever goes wrong. We'll activate our Ogre Dance, and we'll go ahead and add the log on, because we're being super greedy here. That's also one of the things, too. I feel like with this deck, you have to play really greedy, because if you don't, I think you're just going to fall too far behind. You're playing a deck that is not as stable as other decks, so you have to play as greedy as possible and just hope that it works. So then you normal summon log on, pay 6, and grab, that's definitely not it. We grab our Jam Extreme Session, and now we're going to go ahead and activate Jam Extreme Session's effect. Or activate it and then activate effect, special summon Shirakusai, pay 6. We'll go ahead and fuse with these two into our Rising Carp. If at this point they haven't used Ash, I would assume they don't have it. So we can activate Rising Carp, special summon Deer Note, special summon Xiamen, pay 6 for Xiamen's effect to add the Madame Spider. And the reason why we're going to add Madame Spider off of Xiamen here is so that way we can actually add Ghost Ogre off of our copy of Jam Dragon Drive. And then we're going to go ahead and cut 3 and then draw 1. So now that gets us Nitro Head, which is pretty crazy. This is actually still our hand. So now this is our field. We'll go ahead and Synchro Summon into the Jam Dragon Drive. And we can go ahead and use Jam Dragon Drive as Chain Link 1. And we're actually going to use Rising Carp as Chain Link 2, bringing back the Shirakusai. Which might seem weird, but I promise it'll make sense. So then we will grab our copy of Ghost Ogre, and we're going to get our second draw. And we're going to take 1 off the top, and we're going to draw into Rollerballer, so that's also very good. So here we're actually going to overlay into Chariot Carry, and we're going to use Chariot Carry's effect. We're going to add our copy of That Came Out of Nowhere, which is quite possibly my favorite card name in the entire game. Let's see, drew 1, 2, yeah, we did draw 2. Had to make sure I drew my cards off of the Jam Extreme session. I don't actually know how I'm supposed to get Madame Spider out. I think I messed up. Maybe off of... Well, we already went this far. We messed up. This should not have been in your hand, though. I think you were supposed to summon this off of Xiamen. Instead of Xiamen, I think you were supposed to summon Madame Spider, and then search out the trap card and draw a card. But we've already gone this far, and I don't really want to go back and pretend like we changed anything. So we have this, which is still fine. Just know that in an ideal world, you'd actually have summoned this instead of the Xiamen, and then you would have searched the trap card. And actually, we could still just completely do that. That's fine. So we'll just put this back, and we'll grab this. And there, that is actually the only change. And then we'll still say we drew Nitro Head. The draws would have been different, but that's fine. So here we are. Because you want to keep track of the fact that you've used the field spell special summon. Generally, I jot it down really quick. I just forgot to do it. So then here we have this as our field. So we have a few different options here. We can, or no, this would be engrave. Yeah, this is engrave. So then we can special summon our Nitro Head. And if we know we're playing against Cashier, we'll leave the Nitro Head on the field. If not, we will go overlay into the Draglubion again. And we're going to detach the Nitro Head here. And the reason why we detach Nitro Head here is because off of the Start Your Engines, you're going to actually summon Leon, and Leon can bring back Nitro Head. Whew, throwing cards. So now Draglubion will allow us to summon the Galaxy S Photon Lord, which is pretty great. We'll go ahead and set our Dangerous Gabu, our copy of Start Your Engines, our copy of That Came Out of Nowhere, and then we're also going to special summon our Rollerballer. So now we have Rollerballer in the field, and then in the end phase, Chariot Carry is going to return itself, and then we're going to special summon back our Captain Carry from our graveyard, which will then trigger Better Luck next time to draw us another card. So we have a Xiamen. So on their turn, we have That Came Out of Nowhere, just in case they kaiju us or something. We have the Start Your Engines. We have Dangerous Gabu. We've got Galaxy S Photon Lord, Rollerballer, Droll Lockbird, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, and then off of this, you will also have a Leon, which you're probably going to want to summon after you use your Rollerballer. So if you do this correctly, you'll go Rollerballer first before you use your Start Your Engines, which will then get you to Gold Pride Pinballer. So that'll potentially equip cards. Then you also have your Start Your Engines to summon Leon. Leon can then summon back the Captain Carry, which can then make Star Leon, which can then destroy a monster. And then you also have Dangerous Gabu to negate a monster effect. Galaxy's Photon Lord to negate a monster effect. That came out of nowhere to continue to special summon if necessary. Ghost Ogre, Snow Rabbit, and Droll and Lockbird. So that's just another example of a hand. I don't think that there's too much more to go over. Like I said, I'm also still learning a lot with this. Like as I go, as I'm shuffling up, I'm realizing that there's different stuff I can do. Like for example, one of the really cool things is that off of where'd she go? Chariot Carry. One of the really cool things that you can do is if your life points are lower and you add the field spell, not the field spell, the continuous spell, Better Luck Next Time. Like let's say you use your effect, you can add Better Luck Next Time, and then you can Foolish. So one of the cool things I did was when I was going second, I had forced out some interaction, and I used Chariot Carry. I added Better Luck Next Time, and then I sent Rollerballer. Off of Better Luck Next Time, I then grabbed Leon, because then I used Leon to bring back the Rollerballer to then make Pinballer to clear their field and swing, and then I brought back my Rollerballer in the end phase, and I drew a card, which is really cool. I'm trying to think. If there's any questions, let me know down below. Sorry, this one isn't as in-depth as they usually are. This deck is very kind of just like free-flowy, and there's a lot of really cool little interactions you can do. Like, remember that Leon can get back any of the extra deck ones because they're not warriors. So you can actually get back Chariot Carry if you used its effect and they ogred it, for example. That came up. You can get back Pinballer because it's not a warrior. And you can even get back Star Leon. And then if you've used their effects, they'll go back to the extra deck because you've used that effect that turn already. Chariot or regular Carry, remember that it can boost attack of your monsters. Nitro Head destroys stuff, as we all know. That came out of nowhere, actually can randomly be really good if your opponent is locked. This came up once where my opponent was locked under summon limit, so I waited till they summoned twice and used that came out of nowhere to bring back my monster, and then they couldn't bring back a monster because they've already summoned twice. Cool thing with Rollerballer is that even if it dies, you can still fusion summon because it doesn't have to be one of the materials. And I think that's pretty much all like the little tips and tricks. If you have any of your own, let me know in the comments, please. This is a super fun deck, and even though I won't be playing at YCS Philly, I'd love to see somebody do well with this deck. I think it's very, very powerful right now, and if somebody pilots it with a little bit of luck on their side and the right build, I think you could definitely do pretty well at the YCS or any national championships you have coming up. And until next time, thank you so much.